Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to another episode of Delve Requisite here on Proficiency Bonus. Let's thank our sponsors before I get into any shenaniganery tonight, huh? Let's give a shout out to Little Dragon Corp and Cardboard Castle, the sponsors of Proficiency Bonus. You can type !CGC or !Little Dragon in the chat at any point during tonight's stream to get a link to either of those websites where you can go and check out all of the fine dice and tabletop RPG accessories and all other nature of fun things that you can purchase for your game playing enjoyment. If you do decide to buy something from Little Dragon Corp, you can enter our code PROBONUS at checkout to receive a 10% discount on your order. Thank you, Cardboard Castle. Thank you, Little Dragon Corp. I may have impulse bought a $40 set of metal dice recently. Speaking of dice. But that's neither here nor there. We are returning for another week of Pirates here on Delve Requisite. The newly minted crew of the Grimm's Folly are in port on the island of Glazow, the pirate freehold island, where they are awaiting the repairs of their newly hijacked ship. And attempting to hire themselves a crew with which they can sail out on the open seas and pursue interests of their very own as masters of their own destiny. We left off last week, shortly after the crew had arrived, where Scylla had brought the whole gang, including their one could say their first crew member, Tea Kettle, the Kenku, out to the small island just off of the shore of Glazow, where Murderbeard brought them the first time they were on this island, and showed them the burial place of his old captain and father figure, one Captain Hotspur. And Scylla had planted a lemon tree on that spot. They returned there, and Scylla guided them through something of a traditional Firbolg meditation ceremony intended to help one find their inner peace, their inner sense of self, their inner heart animal, heart beast, as it were. The crew took part in this ceremony, some of them finding it enlightening, some of them finding it perhaps confusing, some of them even a little terrified of what they might find if they look too deeply inside themselves. We will return tonight, the morning following this event, as you guys either awaken from your chosen cabin aboard the vessel, aboard your ship, or if you have been staying on shore, you awaken on shore, in one of the fine establishments that Glazow has to offer. But the day is yours. You still have some time yet before your ship is due to be repaired and seaworthy again, and you have the prospect of finding and hiring a crew before you that you have to take part in at some point before you depart. And I believe there was some murmurings among the crew of a few pieces of local scenery that some folks had been interested in during their time here. So I will shut up and I will get out of your way and I will turn it over to you guys. I will mess with the cameras to make GroovyBot be a little quiet.
I will also mess with my camera. Hang on a second.
Part of the show where we all mess with our cameras.
Yep. This is the camera messing portion of tonight's episode.
Kristy's dead. I'm here. Hang on. No, she's dead.
No, my green screen. The illusion is broken.
Oh no!
She's actually been an elaborate puppet this whole time.
It's true.
She was never real. Not even Canadian.
Matt Black in chat, I believe, was trying to write camera messing intensifies, but he did spell it camera messing intensities, which I kind of like better. This is the camera messing intensities portion of the episode.
I'll have to eject my cat. Hang on.
Okay. We've concluded the camera. We've concluded the camera messing
Eject the cat
portion. We have entered the cat ejection portion of the series.
Didn't folks want to go to the like fort thingy or like the thing on the cliff?
Huge feral cat problem. I'm glad.
The abandoned plantation or Fort Blackwell. I know it wasn't me.
Check them out.
I know it was one of you guys because it was not me.
Rowan wants to look everywhere.
Wait.
She's restless now and she needs to do something.
Where's
So
the
she's
map?
down for
Yeah, I kind of could use a walk to get my mind off of things that occurred last night. I think that would be good.
Did you go to Rutabagas?
No. I came straight back here with you, Captain. You were here the whole time.
It's Maybell's, by the way. Rutabaga.
Yeah, but he went specifically to visit Rutabaga.
Rutabaga just works there.
I was with you the whole time last night?
Well, when we got back to the ship.
I don't remember that at all.
You
I remember
don't
going to the
remember?
island, thinking we were gonna die, and this morning I woke up without pants. So...
You
Sounds
woke
like
up
a
this
you
morning
either we
without
both
pants?
went to visit Rutabaga, or...
I woke up with my pants. They're still here.
I can't get out of
Can't
them.
miss them.
Well, I guess it's best that at least one of us had pants. If we both had pants, we would have had to go down a line of questioning nobody wants to listen to.
Rowan, are you ready to go?
Yeah. I get up. I go,
Yeah, go look at a fort to get away from this conversation.
I go over to Thyxes and like just kind of like loop my arm through his, like not dragging him, but just like let's get you out of here, honey, kind of mentality. and just...
I will gladly let you drag me away. Just
Thank you to No Face
slowly
Manifesto for
walking
the
with
500 bits for pants. We appreciate it.
oh yes,
Man, those
thank you.
pants have earned us more bits and more coin donations than anything I've ever done as DM.
Before we leave this place, I am going to literally pick up at least 10 more pair of these pants,
Okay.
just because I need to make sure that I've got them in all colors. You know, I want to make sure I'm set.
Alrighty. No
Ah, yes, all colors available. Black and slightly darker black.
That's right. That's right.
Well, you know, there's the one that has like a snake skin print.
Oh, God, I gotta
Studs
have
in
that.
it. Got some studs down the
We
leg.
have black, we have brown, we have off black. We do have ones that we stitched the word juicy onto the ass of.
We have brown that used to be white, but it's brown now. Don't worry about it.
Thanks for the 5 gold.
Hey.
Oh,
I
at least he didn't give 5 gold to himself.
I
True.
do not
You
find
did
it in
like
my pants pocket though because I don't wear pants. So
Oh, Scylla, there's 5 gold in my pocket. Here, I think that belongs to you.
thank you. That is very generous.
It wasn't mine. I don't know where it came from.
These it does occur to me, these gold donations, when you guys get the gold donations from chat, mark them down as Mythlandine gold coins. That's sort of the standard gold piece. I have introduced different currencies that are worth different values. So the gold donation things can get real confusing if we don't set a precedent.
So are Rowan and Thyxes going by themselves, or are other
think
people
we're all
coming
going.
with, or we're all going together?
Yeah, I'll take along.
I will go.
Thyxes, did you want to go to the plantation or the fort first? I'll go wherever you want to go first.
How about we take a stop by that plantation first and just have a look-see?
Okay.
No, there's just something about that place I'm just curious about. I don't know.
Yeah, I want to look around and see what got left behind when it got abandoned. So, it's a good idea.
That's good thinking.
Okay. So there is, as you guys have noted, on the eastern portion of the island, there is a sort of a slope that ascends up to a slightly higher elevated portion of the island. Kind of a slight cliff face overlooking the small lagoon that is in the center of the of Glasgow there, and above, on the top of that rise, you have taken note that there is a fairly sizable building up there. It is clearly Ignean in design. It has the sort of penchant for sort of curved and sloping architecture that the elves favor. Though even from a distance, as you've been kind of going about your business on the lower portion of the island in the town proper, you can see that it is largely in disrepair. A good deal of like jungle and vegetation seems to have overtaken a part of the property. Part of the roof is collapsed on one side, and the grounds and the structure itself clearly have not been upkept or cared for or actively used as a dwelling in some number of years. In order to get to it, you from the ship, logical path would be basically to traverse the small wooden bridge that bridges the gap there, sort of just over by the lagoon. You cross the path that were you to bear to your right, would take you up a slight slope to where the fort sits. But instead, you guys turn left and you head up a narrow trail that leads up in the direction of this upper portion of the island. The trail is wide enough that you can tell at one point it was designed in mind of carts and carriages and things being brought up it. But it, much like you suspect the house, has not really been properly maintained for some time now. So there are portions of it that are uneven or divoted or even washed out. Portions where vegetation has grown over, and the trail is little more than a footpath as you head up. You do pass a building on your right that is about part of the way up there. It's I actually don't know if it's labeled on the map. It's not labeled on the map, but it's about halfway up that slope. There is another kind of sizable building that looks as if it was perhaps some sort of not quite a warehouse, but it looks as if it is a structure that was intended to be used in some sort of agricultural put to some sort of agricultural use, but it does not appear to be actively occupied. It's sort of dilapidated and falling apart a little bit. If you
Rowan, do you see any? Would you like to stop here and take a look here, or do you think we should just keep on heading up the trail?
I don't know what we would get out of a place where maybe nobody lived. We could poke our heads in and see, but I don't think we'll find too much in there to be of use for what maybe both of us are looking for. But we can poke our heads in.
Yeah, why not? You know?
Sure. So you guys wander over. You only have to divert about 50 feet off the main trail to head over and kind of start poking around this building. Doesn't take much to sort of find an opening where it looks like there would have been like a large, almost like bay door, currently just wide open to the elements. You see that a bunch of like sand and stuff has like pushed its way into this this structure. As you look around, you do see that it has the definite feel of a some sort of a structure where like processing of some sort of an agricultural nature would have been done here. There's a clear like flow to the design of the building where something would have been like brought in via one side into sort of the main portion of the building and then easily like moved out through these bays that are in the front. The only thing really inside this building as you kind of wander around are just these signs of essentially like, you know, there's scattered like bottles, empty bottles, broken bits of glass, a few like scraps of cloth and old like, you know, unused or poor quality like bedrolls. Basically just signs of like squatters hanging out here or you know, sailors using this as a place to get away and revel in the evenings. It doesn't look like there's anything particularly of interest in here.
Okay. Doesn't look like we have much going on in here.
No, but it's good to know where apparently some parties happen on this island outside of the tavern. Remind me to never come here at night. And she just starts walking up to the main piece.
Thyxes would like to like rush up towards Rowan since Rowan's kind of like leading this whole thing, and kind of like look back over his shoulder, make sure like Scylla and everybody's a little bit maybe out of earshot. And I want to ask Rowan, hey, so last night, did you like see anything, or did you feel anything strange happen when we were, you know, during that whole thing that Scylla was doing?
And Roman will look at Thyxes, kind of like almost surprised that he was the one to bring it up. And she just kind of looks back over her shoulder and looks at him again and goes, "There was a lot last night. How about later on, maybe when everyone else is having dinner, you and I can go talk? Because I feel like because she focused on us, maybe we're the ones who need to figure it out the most. So I feel like I can talk to you about it maybe a little bit more than the others right now."
Yeah, I agree with you, and that really freaks me out, to be honest.
Yeah, it was not a great time.
I really feel like we were targeted, Rowan.
I think she meant it for the best, and I think it's the kind of practice that, depending on who you are, it affects you differently. And I think, unfortunately, you and I just had a bad time with it.
I did wake up a little lightheaded this morning. It was definitely a new experience.
Yeah, can say that again. Let's talk later about it a little. When we're not out in the middle of nowhere, we can sit down somewhere quiet together.
Sure, sounds good.
I'll
Good.
just
I'm just
kinda...
double checking over my shoulder to make sure like Scylla isn't just there all of a sudden.
Well, I mean, I have a passive perception of 21, and I can like also read lips and shit like that.
Well,
You're
I was deliberately keeping my face away.
That's partially Rowan feeling that Scylla just knows more than she lets on all the time because she's super suspicious now. It's like, she's like, we're gonna talk later, and is like just clapping him on the back, like we'll figure this out. And she's still like kind of keeping her arm looped through his because she feels like she needs a buddy, but she doesn't know who. So she's like, you know what, thanks, it's got it, cool. Moving on. Buddy system.
Captain, do you know anything about this place that we're going to from this island?
I do. Except it was really
It was a
long
while
time
ago.
that I read the document. It's like
if you
3
can't
months
find it,
ago.
I'll give you the brief.
Because Murderbeard was
You
here
can just
before.
send it to me again if you. Probably 1,000 years worth of scrolling.
Yeah, I don't know how much I actually gave you of like the history.
It was a decent amount.
All right, let's see. I'll give you this.
Although it might have been in a private message, please. It's old, I can tell you that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to hiccup with the lore, but I figured it might be a good idea to see
Oh,
if
I got it.
somebody
No,
knew
wait,
it
that's not what I thought it
before
was.
we got there.
Okay, I found it.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah. My God, it's tiny. What are you specifically asking about? Murderbeard like pulls out a little book and puts on the pair of glasses. Oh, what?
It's like the pocket travel guide to the island of Glasgow.
I mean, I know it's abandoned now, but do you have any idea, like, why?
I do. Just give me a minute.
Boy, Captain, you take a lot of notes.
Did you know the island of Glasgow was a staging area for an Naporian naval campaign over 1,000 years ago? That's a little fun fact for you, Thyxes. And some 60 years ago, members of the Ignean gentry came to the island to build a lavish plantation home atop the rise of the northeast part of the island, which is the intention of turning the island into a sugarcane plantation. The small port of Glasgow sprang up around this endeavor. The plantation never went into operation, however, as the end of the house died, and the Amaranth fever, and his son was... something about his son, unless... something about pissed away a fortune. I can't read my own handwriting, but it's old as shit.
So, for those of us that found that incomprehensible,
It's big in my defense.
it is.
And if I made it bigger, it just got blurry.
It is generally known that some 1,000 years ago, before the Invarian Empire collapsed, this island was originally settled as a base of operations for some sort of a naval campaign. The cause and purpose of which is long since lost to history. Hence the fort that still stands to this day on the island. Years and years and years and years and years and years later, in the more modern era, an Ignean noble came to this island and settled it, building the lavish plantation that you guys are heading to now, that Thyxes had asked about, and making an attempt to found a sugarcane plantation here on Glasgow. The intention was to cultivate the island and grow sugarcane here. Unfortunately, the head of this household, this minor noble of Ignean descent, contracted the Amaranth fever, which is something that all of your characters would be familiar with. It is an illness that is pretty much widespread, ubiquitous across Urahol, and up until not all that long ago, a cure was unknown. So it just like killed a lot of people. It's essentially like a very bad flu. This Ignean noble died of the Amaranth fever. His son, largely known to be a sort of a layabout and a bit of an idiot, just blew the entire family fortune, drove the prospect of the plantation into ruin, and eventually emigrated away from the island and the port town of Glasgow and the potentially burgeoning sugarcane industry that was in its infancy here collapsed. And the island sort of fell into largely into disrepair until more recently the pirates settled here, and have been sort of undergoing the process of not revitalizing it, so to speak. It is just a bunch of pirates squatting on this island and sort of building a ramshackle pirate port here. But the use of it as a pirate haven has sort of breathed a little bit of a life back into the settlement on the island. The plantation home, however, has not really been touched by any of the pirates. I've had no real use for it, and it's been largely left to disrepair.
And there you have it.
There you have it.
The history of the island, as told to you by Murderbeard.
Thanks for all that information, Captain. That was really enlightening.
You're welcome. Anytime you got questions, be sure to ask. I'll definitely have the answer.
All right. Well, as you guys, in the course of Murderbeard kind of giving you the rundown on what he knows about the sordid history of Glasgow, that brings you guys back the rest of the way up to the plantation home. You see that it is several stories. It is a 3-story building. Part of the roof on the northwestern side, you can kind of see from where you're standing, has sort of collapsed in. But a good portion of the building is still intact, despite its it being a little bit worse for the wear, as it's just sort of sat in the elements for several decades, uncared for, untended. The jungle has largely begun to sort of reclaim the structure. There is nothing barring you from going inside, as there are no doors or windows still intact on this structure. You can just walk right in. There's a couple of places you can walk right in through a wall if you wanted to, because there's big holes in it. But it is easily accessible anywhere that you want to enter in and start poking around.
Looking at never mind.
Okay. Scylla starts to look at the building and then decides not to. There is additionally there's a couple of little ancillary buildings that you can kind of see tucked into the jungle growth nearby, off of the main house.
Thyxes would probably just... Is there a front porch
Yeah.
to this place? Or...
Yep.
Thyxes would probably just start slowly walking onto the front porch, lightly pressing weight down onto the wood, if it's made out of wood, to make sure that it's not rotted out and he's going to fall right through the floor.
Sure.
As he goes.
I found what I was looking for. I'm sorry.
Got it.
Okay, looking at the size of this building, is it would I be able to capture a decent amount of the mansion within 120 feet, or is it even further back than that?
It's the footprint of this building is what you're asking,
Basically, yeah, I want to cast Find Traps, because Find Traps can find anything. It says a trap for the purpose of the spell includes anything that would inflict a sudden or unexpected effect you consider harmful or undesirable, which was specifically intended as such by its creator.
Sure.
So it won't get anything that is just dilapidated unintentionally,
Sure.
but if someone trapped one of these little holes. I just want to catch it. I have 120-foot range for this, so I just want to get as much of the building as possible in it.
If you wanted to get as much of the building as possible, your play would probably be to go in, in the front door, kind of into the main foyer, sort of in the midst of the building, and then outward from there. If you want to do, this before approaching too far, if you want, if she kind of gets up on the porch, you'll still probably hit a pretty good chunk of it. You just maybe you're not going to get every nook and cranny, across the whole footprint of the building.
Okay, well then I will just do from the porch.
Okay.
And I have a water skin that has seawater in it, and I pour a little bit out, and it kind of floats in front of me like I'm doing ship water, and it just kind of makes a little panel that kind of captures like it looks like you're looking through to the building, and I will cast Find Traps. So if any of them like light up, it would light up like on the glass, like as if it was like a layout.
Okay.
Wow.
Sure. All right. So Scylla, you kind of watch her like pour this globe of water into her outstretched hand from her water skin, and then she shapes it and it spreads out into this flat sheet in front of her, which then sort of becomes almost like reflective for a moment before you can kind of see the sort of the rough impression of like the sort of floors and wall of the building ahead of you reflected in this water.
Oh.
Go ahead.
It reveals that a trap is present, either magical or mechanical, but not the specific location, but I do learn the general nature of the danger posed by a trap.
Gotcha.
So if there is a trap, I get it, but not where.
Okay. Then in that case, wind that description back, Scylla.
It's just a little ball, and if it lights up like the
balls
color
this
of blood,
water,
there's a trap.
Balls this water, and sort of, you kind of look into it, and the sort of the water begins to very quickly like swirl inside itself, and after a few moments, it slows down and becomes kind of still and placid and tranquil again, but it remains clear. You're not pinged by any traps within 100.
There are no intentionally set traps within 120 feet of where I'm standing.
Why does everything have to be weird with you people?
What do you mean?
We just can't just go for a nice walk. You can be like, oh, let me float this magic water ball. And they'd be like, there's no traps.
It would turn to blood if there was traps.
I rest my case. We just can't have a normal Tuesday for once. Shut up, Thyxes.
Tell him to shut up.
He was looking at me loudly.
I would slowly maybe go into the front door if it's no door and it's just open, and see if I can find maybe like something to use for light. Perhaps maybe something that I could use as a torch or a candle, or if there's anything like laying around somewhere that I could use.
So you are able to kind of walk up the porch, and you, as you said, you're sort of walking carefully. You're making sure that this old sort of creaky wood is not going to give way underneath your feet as you move. And it does definitely like groan with each step as you sort of move throughout. You do actually see a couple of places where like the wooden planks are kind of like clearly appear to be like dry rotted, but seems sturdy enough as you move through. The Ignians are nothing but the craftsmen who build things to generally last. Considering the elven lifespan, their structures need to upkeep for quite some time. So even after several decades of utter neglect, the structural stability of this building seems to be pretty solid. You don't think you're in too much of a risk of like falling through a floor or collapsing anything on yourself. The interior of the building, you can tell, even despite its sort of dingy, dirty, unkept, largely nature reclaimed state, you can tell was a sort of lavish entryway. There is a grand staircase that leads up to the second floor, as well as several doors that lead off to other portions of the first floor of this building. You have a pretty good view of what's around you. As inside there are also still not really doors on anything. Most of that stuff is long since either removed or rotted away or what have you. So you can get a pretty clear look into like other rooms in the building. You see a little bit of furniture like scattered around in some of the rooms. There's some chairs. There's a long what appears to be like a dining table in a room adjacent. You see a staircase off of this main room that leads down, presumably into like a cellar of some sort. There's what appears to be probably like a sitting room, as it is surrounded by these large, spacious windows that would have let an incredible amount of, or still are letting an incredible amount of natural light into the space, despite the fact that there's no glass in them anymore. You can see what looks like there are several more rooms off, like branching off of these other chambers. Everything you might expect in an estate of this size. Sitting rooms, drawing rooms, dining room, kitchens, things of that nature. The second floor, you're not sure what's up there, but there's really not how you'd seen like bottles and things strewn about. Like clearly people were like hanging out in here. You don't see much of that here. It looks like this building is largely left alone by the pirates. Hello, Maria 171717. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. So what are you guys doing?
I think I'll follow Thyxes and
see where their report's going.
It's pretty well lit in here. I think we don't have to worry about spells or torches or anything of that nature. Just a normal Tuesday walk, right, Captain?
Yep.
Cool. I'm gonna go check upstairs then. You boys
Are we
got it down
looking-
I'm curious about the cellar, to be honest.
You go
Like,
down.
is there anything particular reason we're here? Because I'm gonna be real honest with you. You do realize this is a pirate island, so anything even remotely of value was taken from this place a long time ago.
Why didn't they use the place though, Captain?
Maybe it's haunted. Who
What?
knows?
Great. Now Thyxes is gonna have nightmares about a haunted plantation manor.
Oh no!
I'm hoping
Why'd you even
that
say that, Rowan?
before Captain could, man. Before Captain could at that point. What I want to look for, I don't think the pirates would find necessarily valuable. And Rowan just starts looking for a study, a library,
Can we help you find something, Rowan?
books, papers,
Just-
any information that we can maybe find out here.
I will help.
I'll help.
Okay.
I start.
So most of the gang is looking for a room in this plantation that was a study or a library of some sort that still contains any remnants of written information of any sort. Make an investigation check for me.
Each of us?
Anybody who's looking. Are you staying as a group, or are you guys like kind of Scooby-Dooing off in your own directions to hunt around?
I said I was gonna go check upstairs.
Okay, so Nimue's heading upstairs.
I'm
Yeah.
just going with Rowan.
I'll go with thanks.
Investigation or perception?
Investigation.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to the cellar and see if there's any secret alcohol stashes left over from.
That certainly is
Oh,
gone.
well,
All right, so
Looted.
Thyxes and Murderbeard are heading down to the cellar. Scylla and Rowan are on the first floor, kind of hunting around for a library, and Nymue has headed up to the second floor. Is that correct? Alrighty. What was everybody's investigations?
With the party. Let's go.
15.
15.
19.
19.
19. Okay.
Thanks. Thyxes had an 18.
Okay.
14 for Rowan.
14. All right. Let's work bottom to top. Cellar. Thyxes, you head off towards that staircase. You head down. You go to hunt around downstairs. Murderbeard comes behind you.
Captain, the last time we went together for something, you told me you weren't going to do this again. But here you are, and you're following me down these steps.
Are you throwing that in my face?
I'm just curious, Captain. I remember you saying that.
Pushing you down the stairs. Choose your words very carefully.
Thyxes hurries quickly down the steps before he pushes him.
So, little Thyxes' feet down the stairs. The steps are stone beneath. Once you descend down, get into the cellar. They're actually carved from like the stone of the island itself, it seems, and the cellar is a stone cellar that has been dug out beneath this house. It's fairly sizable. It's quite empty for the most part, at least in terms of as you're kind of going down there looking for secret stashes of booze. You definitely see several racks that would have held the plantation's reserve of like wines and things. You see where there would have been casks kept for storing larger quantities of alcohols. There are a number of divisions in this particular chamber that based on Thyxes, you would actually have a pretty solid idea of sort of the cellar in a house of this lavishness and this size. There is space in here for the various larders to be filled with all manner of goods that the household would need to run and operate. All of it is quite picked through, quite empty. Looks like it has been largely in disuse for some number of years. Thyxes, you had a 19, you said?
Yeah, that's correct.
And Murderbeard, yours was a what?
Or an 18
15.
or something.
15, okay. 18. Thyxes, as you guys are kind of wandering around, looking around down here, you do find not alcohol, but you find that in the floor in this chamber, there are a couple of places where there are these metallic grates that appear actually to be built into the stone floor. They don't look like they necessarily like lift out or anything like that. They appear to be like built into the stone floor itself. And you can't see too far, but they appear to have like these like little channels that descend down and curve away from them, going down deeper. If you walk up and like kind of put your hand over one of them, you can just feel like the kind of like the tickle on your skin of like moving air, as there's like a very slight air current coming up through these grates, supplying like fresh air into this cellar.
Thyxes, I don't know that I'd be touching that.
Do you feel that, Captain?
All right. I'm going to level with you. Wasn't going to say this in front of the others because I didn't want everybody getting all wigged out, but there is a reason why nobody really inhabits this place. You see, the original owner, he built it. But he, well, let's just say he was not a well man. He put all sorts of weird things in the wall, and what he used to do was invite guests over. And he'd say, "Oh, I have a lovely vintage in the basement. Come to the basement." And what he would do is he would cut their throats, and he would use this thing to drain their blood out, and then he made wine out of the blood. So there is a reason. They say that this place is haunted by the ghosts of his victims, and pirates are kind of superstitious, so we don't like to hang out in here.
Well, I'm a pirate too now, so I should be superstitious too.
Yeah, you should.
But question, Captain. Like,
Good God, Thyxes, what is that? Oh my God!
Wait, Captain.
Oh, it was only a bucket. Where you're,
What? It's only a bucket. Why'd you make such a ruckus out of a bucket?
Because I thought it was a ghost, but then it was a bucket. But keep your
You
eyes
should
peeled.
know the difference between a ghost and a bucket.
See
Captain.
those Thyxes? They look vaguely like buckets. I thought it was a ghost carrying a bucket. Okay.
Oh, so now ghosts are carrying buckets everywhere.
They carry whatever they want, Thyxes. They're ghosts.
Can they actually touch things?
Yes.
Why are we yelling at
Specifically
each
only
other?
buckets.
Because there's only two ways to ward off a ghost. You either yell really loud or you whisper really quiet.
Okay, so there's no middle ground.
No, sometimes you want to be careful with the whispering because the ghosts go, ooh, that sounds like a good conversation. Let me get really close to them.
Okay, then we should start yelling again.
Why are you yelling? I'm right here.
Listen, Captain, there's no way someone spilled blood into these grates. Because look, the grates are built into the floor. If the blood went in, he couldn't get the blood back out. It makes no sense, Captain. How's he gonna get the blood out?
You're trying to put logic to the thoughts of a man who killed people for their blood.
He's got
Kind
a
of,
point,
yes.
you know.
Oh, that
That was the ghost. That was the ghost of the bucket.
Thyxes runs up the steps.
Okay, so we'll move from them. We'll move up to the first floor now. Rowan and Scylla, you guys are you do pretty quickly find what you're looking for up here. A room that was clearly a study / library of sorts. There are shelves. They are not in the best of repair, but there are shelves lining the walls, and they do contain, though they are quite damaged by moisture and humidity. There are books still remaining on these shelves. As you guys kind of begin to poke around in here, you hear from downstairs, bucket! Buckets! And then everything goes very quiet for a few minutes. And then you hear, buckets! And then, like, the thundering feet of Murderbeard and Thyxes beginning to come back up the stairs. But as they are doing that, as you're hearing that, you are hunting around in this study, presumably. What are you looking for in specific? What types of things might catch Rowan's eye as she's sort of perusing the spines of these books?
Rowan wants to look for anything on the Ignean slave trade.
Okay.
And anything on Invarian ruins.
Okay.
Or Invarian history in general.
So you kind of thumb through these the spines of these books. They are, well, actually, here's a question: does Rowan speak or read Elvish? Okay, so you can read this. All of the tomes in here are in the Elven text, the Elvish script. Most of the books you see relate to things that you might expect in such a home. There's a bunch of books that appear to be texts having to do with like botanical interests, specifically as it relates to things like pest management, irrigation, things that kind of have to do with the establishment of this as an agricultural plantation. There are a number of books that also seem to maybe hint at the interests of the original owner of this. You find a few of them on things like like geography, and studies on sort of like natural phenomena of the world. So, I mean, if you are interested in like the formation of rivers, there's maybe a book on that there. You don't find anything necessarily pointing you towards information on the slave trade necessarily. That's the type of information you might expect more in like sort of ledgers or record keeping that might have existed in this plantation. And that has either been lost to time, destroyed, or it may never have existed, considering the sort of failed state of this place getting off the ground. But you do find a few books that seem to be histories involving the Ignean Empire and its sort of rise. They are, just through brief kind of like flipping through a couple of pages to gather your interest. You can tell that they are definitely written in the style of sort of like imperial propaganda. They are written from the perspective, a very Ignean centric perspective, gratifying the glory of the empire and the can do no wrong nature. But you know enough about the Ignean Empire to know that they trace their roots back to the Invarians, and they very much consider themselves like the rightful successor to the Invarian Empire. They more or less consider the other kingdoms on Orahol sort of like squatting on territory that is rightfully their birthright as the descendants of the original Invarian imperial society. So there is a good chance that there is information worth gleaning on a thorough reading of these books that might tie back to Invarian subjects that you are interested in. So you find a couple of books there that are worth taking for those purposes.
Grabbing them, just also intending to show them to Thyxes, because he likes learning things.
Cool.
And any of the botanical books or anything, if they look more talking about just the plants themselves or different interesting plants that aren't so common, I would hand to Scylla to see if it's anything there that she might know. She probably knows it all already. She probably could have written the dang book, but she passes it over like, does this interest you at all?
It is about native flora.
Plants, how they planned to irrigate things. I don't know what.
Probably a book or two on
know.
native flora to the Iolocus archipelago. Also, some agricultural books on like the cultivated crops that they had planned to bring here, as well as probably a book dealing with like diseases of agricultural and non-cultivated plant species.
I will take these. They look useful. Thank you.
Cool.
I'm happy we found what we found, at least. Looks like I have reading to do later.
You guys have your books in your hand as you're looking. Just as like Thyxes and Murderbeard come like charging up the steps back onto the first floor, yelling about buckets and ghosts. But as that's taking place, we'll traverse up to the second floor where Nymue, you kind of have headed and you are sort of wandering around. Is there anything in specific that you are looking for as you're up here? You just sort of...
I'm just being nosy, looking for books and diaries.
Okay. Thyxes had actually, I think Thyxes had the 18. You had the 19, right?
I had 19. So I'm just looking for interesting things. I'm just being nosy.
Okay. So, give me 1 second. Let me reach into my dice bag. Oh, jeez. Okay. You poke around up there. You can see that there is the remnants of what were likely several bedrooms and things of that nature up on the second floor. You don't necessarily find anything of particular interest. One thing that you do take note of is that on the mantle in several of these bedrooms that you enter into, you see that there are what appear to be like strange little collections of things. In one bedroom you come across, you see there is a neatly arrayed row of sort of neat looking seashells and pebbles that seem to have been like laid out and arranged in like color and ascending size order. There is a stubby lump of like wax that has a little bit of a wick in it that is like the mostly burnt out remnants of a candle. You see a small bottle of green glass has been set out. In another room, similarly, you find a knotted up piece of shredded rags that have been sort of twisted and knotted together to make a kind of a corded braid. You see there is a singular cracked glass marble. There is a dog who will not stop scratching on the rug behind me. There's also a rug on the floor in one of these rooms that has it looks like it has been like shaken out more recently than like a lot of the rest of the dusty house. There's a little chair that has been like positioned in the room that likewise is not covered in the same level of like dust and grime and debris as a lot of the other things that are in here. Hello, too lazy to play myself. Thank you for joining us. You begin to notice these things in these upper rooms, and you get the sense of not necessarily habitation. You don't see evidence of somebody like sleeping here necessarily, or eating, or really like living here. But it does look like somebody is like in this space and is making these little arrangements for some reason.
It's really cute. Okay, I won't take anything because it seems like important to them, but I will go tell my friends what I found because it's kind of cool.
Okay. What is Nymue's passive perception?
13.
13. Okay. As you are heading back out of these, kind of like the last room that you look in, and making your way back towards the stairs to kind of head down and report what you saw to the others in the group, you hear from one of the rooms that you like definitely were already in. You hear like a very light creak, and you whip your head over, and you think you catch just like the thinnest little wisp of like what looks like a very fine like mane of almost like hair, like the sweep of somebody's long hair, just like bloop, around the door frame, as if somebody had been like peeking and then has like pulled back as soon as you turned around.
I saw the hair, yeah?
Hmm?
I'm going to try and mind link.
Interesting. How does mind link work? Do you need to like actively see the person?
Telepathically, you can use your action to a creature. It just says a creature. It doesn't say that I have to see them, actually.
Okay. What's the range on that?
40 feet.
Okay. So you attempt to mind link. You kind of... I just read it myself just to make sure.
It does say you can see.
Does it?
Mm-hmm. Within 40 feet of you.
Let's see. You must be able to... the creature must be able to see you and be within 40 feet.
Okay.
So they have to see me.
Okay. So currently you and whoever this is are not in line of sight of each other, because you just caught like you think maybe somebody was peeking at you, but by the time you like turned, they retreated backwards into that room.
All right. I will go creep over there.
Okay. You creep over there. As you enter back into that room, you kind of like lean around and look. The room still appears to be empty. You notice that on that mantle that you had been kind of like checking out the little doohickeys and knickknacks and things, that green glass bottle that you had seen there has been moved to a different position on the mantelpiece, and in its place has been set a piece of it's like a piece of sea rock that has like a calcified lump of like shell and buildup sort of attached to it, has been like placed in its stead.
Hello?
Make a perception check.
9 plus 3?
Okay, let me
12.
dice out. 12. Okay. You call out, and you're kind of looking, and you notice along the back wall there is a sort of a seam in the wall that you didn't notice before. The wall sort of is what appears to be sort of smooth plastered down to a certain point where there's like molding, decorative molding at mid height, and there, as you can see, just the slightest bit of a little seam that you hadn't noticed the first time you were in here, where the two like there's two sections of wall that are now like not quite perfectly flush with one another. And as you call out your hello, the little panel that you have noticed like pushes out ever so slightly, and you just see one like wide, very like innocent looking doe eye kind of like looking at you. This big, shockingly brilliant blue eye like peeks out at you, and you can see this sort of tuft of very fine light auburn hair at the top of this individual's head. They stand no more than like maybe 4.5 feet. You can't see much of them to discern much in terms of features, but they do appear to have like very pale, almost like porcelain skin. It's very light in color, very fair. They kind of like peek at you with this eyeball.
Is this your home?
No, I just take care of things.
I like your little collections. They're very cute.
You see the eye like darts for a moment, and then like the door creaks open a little more, and a very slight of build human female steps out. You have a hard time discerning her age. She looks young to you. You like at first you almost would have like said she was like a child. But it's hard to say. She could be a little older. So you can't quite pin her age down, but she's very slight of build, very sort of thin, not quite to the point of appearing like malnourished, but she's very slender. She's wearing a dress of sort of simple linen that is a little bit frayed around the edges, but it has definitely been cleaned and cared for. It's not like ripped and matted and dirty, and she has this very fine auburn shock of hair that is you can see as she steps out a little further is quite long and extends all the way down like to the small of her back. She steps out a little bit more, and she says, "Thanks. I just put things in their place where they belong."
You're doing a good job. What's your name? I'm Nymue. Nice to meet you.
When you ask her name, she like takes a half step back into this, like what you can now see is like a passage behind the wall in this chamber. She takes like a half step back, and something shifts in her face a little bit, and this sort of like wide-eyed, almost like curiosity that she had been regarding with you, like closes off a little bit. And instead of answering your question, a moment later, she says, "You're different."
Yes, I'm quite different. That's true. I'm new to this island.
She says, "Nobody usually comes up here. Just her."
Just who?
She says, "She gives me things sometimes." She, like, smooths the front of her dress. She says, "She takes care of me."
Oh, someone comes here and hangs out with you?
She says, "Sometimes."
Oh, that's nice. Does she live on the island too, in the city?
She says, "I think so, but I don't go to where the people are."
Oh, you don't live down there?
She shakes her head. She says, "Too noisy. I like to stay where it's quiet, in the below."
The below? Where's below? Through there? And I kind of gesture behind her.
She just points down. She goes, "Below."
I know that means... Okay. There's an undercity?
She kind of like looks and she says, "I guess there's a below."
Wow, that's really cool. Is this the only way to go? Do you think I could visit sometime?
She like, as you say this, she like takes a fully step back into that like cubby, and like you see like goes to start to close the door.
I'm sorry.
I think she pauses a moment. She says, "Only I go into the below. It's my place."
Oh, it's your secret hideout?
She says, "Yeah."
I feel that. That's okay. I could respect that.
She kind of like looks around. She says, "I hear others in here."
Oh yeah, they're my friends that are a little bit noisy.
She kind of nods. She says, "Two of them are yelling about buckets downstairs earlier."
Yeah, I think that's probably Murderbeard and Thyxes.
She kind of like
They're very noisy on the ship too. I'm sorry.
She nods. She says, "They seem pretty weird."
Yeah, we're all kind of weird.
And she
But we're nice. We won't hurt you.
she kind of nods at this. She says, "Okay."
Okay.
She says, she looks, and she like very slowly edges her way out of that cubby, and like kind of shuffling along the wall, keeping her eyes on you the whole way as she goes. She takes several steps sideways across the room, and without really having to like look at where she's looking or what she's doing, she like reaches up and she deftly grabs that green glass bottle, and she takes it in her hands and she looks down at it, looking away from you for the first time, turns it over once or twice. She looks back at you and she moves across the room. She only comes close enough to you to, like, at a fully extended arm's length she holds this bottle in your direction. She says, "Here." She gives you the bottle.
This is for me?
She says, "Mm-hmm." She says, "I have to go now. But
Okay.
you're nice, so you can keep that. She says.
Can I come back
She says.
later, maybe?
She says. Okay.
Okay.
She looks at the bottle and she gets a very, very serious expression on her face. And she says, if you put your ear to it, you can hear that the bottle has a secret.
Oh, really?
She nods. She says, but you can't tell. 'Cause it's
I'm very good with secret. I'm very good. I will keep your secret.
She nods. She says, okay.
Okay.
And she like backs away and goes back into this like cubby, and you hear closes the door,
Seal
closes like the wall, which like seals almost seamlessly behind her, and you just hear like the faintest little like one pat 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 of like her bare feet somewhere behind this wall, and then she's gone.
She was so weird, but that is so cool. Nymue looks like pretty pleased with herself and goes walking down the stairs.
So by the time Nymue comes down, like Murderbeard, you and Thyxes have come up. Rowan and Scylla, you've got your books. You guys see like Nymue comes down the stairs holding this little like green glass bottle in her hand.
Apparently there's ghosts that can hold buckets in this place.
Yeah, I heard you.
Oh yeah, we were kind of yelling.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody find anything neat?
I found some books we can look at later.
Oh great.
I know you like to learn, so we'll
Oh yeah.
I found a young girl who was like hanging up upstairs and was making cute little collections, and then she had to go.
What?
You found a child?
Murderbeard turns to Thyxes and just goes, and then mouths the word ghosts.
We're literally Scooby-Doo in this freaking
Did she have a bucket?
She did not have a bucket, but I don't know if she was a child. She was like, she looked young, but maybe a little bit older, like young adolescent, teenager, adult, young adult.
She just lives here?
No, she doesn't live here, but I think she likes hanging out and being by herself. She says it's too noisy in the city.
Where does she live?
True.
She said down below.
Like in hell?
She lives down below.
One bottle. I have a
Great, we got little girls from hell. Awesome.
No, I don't think she was from hell. She was really cute. She gave me this bottle.
She lives in the basement.
We did see some strange metal grating in the floor in the basement. Murderbeard said that the person who lived here used to do blood sacrifices with people and drain their blood into the grating in the floor.
Uh-huh.
And that the ghosts of his victims are present here in this house. Maybe this little girl was one of those.
I mean, she handed me a bottle. Can ghosts do that?
They can apparently carry buckets.
And she's just living here, feeding herself on the plants.
I don't know. But I feel like she's very skittish. She doesn't like loud noises. So she was a little bit irritated at the two of you screaming downstairs.
Way to go, Thyxes.
I thought it was like a pirate thing. You told me like ghosts, they either like
This ghost
there's no middle ground.
Yelling.
You gotta scream or you whisper. I don't know. I'm whispering again.
Ah, yes, the Nicolas Cage approach to life. That was an old shipmate of mine, old Nicolas Cage. He was a real crazy guy.
Yeah,
They actually had to keep him in a cage.
The sea fever.
He was, Nicholas, we don't know his real name, but we called him Nicolas Cage because we kept him in a cage. Because he was a biter. He was a biter for sure. I got a scar right here. Yeah, he was a biter. He'd rip your face right off.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Wow. Do you? I can do something to detect the presence of magic. Do you think? Would you like me to do this?
I mean,
I think
are ghost magic?
I don't know if ghosts are magic.
What, did you take some more of those mushrooms from last night?
Where did this little girl go?
And
You said she left?
you're just
Where
holding
did
that
she
bottle
leave
like
to?
it's not gonna like explode or anything?
It was a gift. I want to respect her wishes.
Yeah, well, it could secretly be the gift of death.
It's a bottle.
What did she say when she gave it to you?
I can't tell you that. It's a secret. And I promise not to share.
Well, if you get killed by a bottle, just don't say I didn't warn you.
Nymue, do you think she's good or do you think she's bad?
I think she's scared.
I can try to sense
Good and evil.
good and evil. Yeah, but I don't. If she's run away, it's a limited space. We don't know where the house she is.
She said down below, so I would assume maybe it's under the basement, or like an underground. Is there an underground city on this island, Murderbeard?
Not that I know of.
All right, well then maybe she just found a cool little like hideaway. I don't know.
If there was a
You know what?
cool underground city on this island, do you think I wouldn't have taken you there already?
Maybe you weren't on the list.
If anybody's on that list, it's Captain Macbeth Murderbeard.
There was an underground city. I think he would have tried to take you there, and I would have tried to stop at least Thyxes from going there. Meeting Rutabaga's horrible cousin.
Oh. Rutabaga's got cousins?
I'm sure she does.
Yeah, she's got plantain,
Rhubarb,
rhubarb, celery,
turnip.
beets. Those are twins. They're both called beets.
To add on to Rowan's more serious point, though, I am also limited with the range and the amount of time that I can sense the presence of magic. But
Okay.
if an object or a creature bears magic, I can sense it and the school of magic that affects it.
Before anybody does anything with their magical, arcane abilities, so to speak, there is that metal grating in the cellar, but I want to go out and check something really fast, and Thyxes is going to basically run out the front porch.
Rowan's running after him. She does not want him to be alone.
Okay.
She's just like, dang it! And she just
I guess Thyxes just got this thing in his head, so he wants to see if it could possibly be true. The way it is drawn on this map, Matt, and correct me if I'm wrong, this mansion place, or it kind of overlooks, that looks like a very high elevated cliff.
Yeah, it's probably about
It's over
100 or so feet.
Okay, I'm gonna get as close to that cliff as I can and look down over the edge of it and see if there's anything like a hole or some type of
Sure.
pipe or something that would breathe into this place from the cliffside.
Okay. Make a
Rowan is
perception
grabbing the
check.
back of his
Okay.
clothing.
Tail.
No.
Man, the sound of Thyxes running is real grating on the ears.
Chat has,
Grabbing the tail is acceptable or not, so she's grabbing his clothes. Thank you very much. She does not assume.
Chat has requested that you name an NPC Hampton.
Green
Thanks, Jason.
Way to go, chat.
ham.
Ham and
Way to
then
go.
dash and then
Jason, you spent
T-O-N.
15,000 points. You couldn't come up with a better name than Hampton.
NPC. That's so cursed it like broke my pencil as I was trying to make the note down.
Matt, I rolled on my perception check a natural 1, which makes it a 2.
Okay. So it's a good thing you lean way too far over the edge, and Rowan has to like grab your collar and haul you back. You don't see anything that looks to be an outlet for that grating that you had seen on the cliffside here.
I think I can get us past the grating.
Rowan will look back to. Has anyone come out too, or are you guys just letting us run around like psychos on this cliffside?
I did not move.
Yeah, we're just kind of probably looking at each other like.
It doesn't seem to be any like exhaust or anything from under. I mean, why would they even put one of those under the house in the first place? It doesn't make any sense.
Thyxes, when you said you wanted to go for a walk and you wanted to explore a little, what did you hope to find here?
Adventure?
Rowan just kind of smiles and like straightens out his, like, fixes his shirt because it's all bunched from where she grabbed it. And
honestly, Rowan, this is keeping my mind off of everything that happened last night.
I get it.
I'm really, really excited about it.
About keeping your mind off things, or about talking later, or both?
All of the above.
Okay. Yeah. Don't lean over cliffs, though. Okay. I worry.
I just thought there might be like a vent or something from under the house.
It's an amazing.
Like a...
If I had had
wind blowing
I would
through
have thought the same thing. But just.
I mean, there's got to be an exit to it somewhere because there was wind, but like I could feel a breeze.
We'll have to look at it, but I wonder if looking right now is smart. If we should come back another day, we still have time on shore, and if Nymue just saw some weird little girl that doesn't like us making noise in the house, I don't know if we want to mess with that today.
I just got inspiration.
Oh, thank you, chat.
I just think we should think about it more. I can't do my spell with a lot of range, neither can Scylla, so maybe Nymue can come back and talk to the creepy little girl that we don't know anything about, and see if maybe Scylla and I can talk to her and we can do our thing, and maybe you and Murderbeard just be quiet. But I don't know if today's the day for that, because she took off apparently, and I'm just a little worried that we've already upset her, and she might be a ghost or anything.
Yeah.
And I'm not down for a ghost fight today. Okay.
Sure. Yeah, I don't want to mess with any ghosts either. I mean, especially none with buckets. I mean, that's just terrifying.
Buckets sound horrible.
What could it be in those buckets? I have no idea.
I don't think we want to know. I don't,
yeah,
and I think we've pushed her hospitality a little too far already for the day. So,
or do you think the girl will like talk to Nymue again? Or what if we leave and like she's just not here again?
What? I mean, it's Nymue. She's probably the nicest among us and does really well with people who don't want to talk, like Kenna. So I would put my money.
What are you talking about? Captain's pretty nice. I'm just messing with you.
Rowan just looks at him like, what the fuck am I gonna do with you?
At the top of the screen appears Murderbeard. Will remember that.
Captain means well. He likes to have his fun, and I don't blame him after everything he's apparently been through, even though we only know like that much of it. How about we go back to the others, see if Nymue thinks the girl will maybe let us visit or her visit again, and we can make a plan that doesn't involve you leaning over a cliff.
I like this. And if all else fails, I can always use my magic to befriend this girl and have her possibly give us more information.
We could try that. There's lots to try and lots to plan, but I'd want to hear more about what the girl said before we do anything, and I don't want to burn a spell just hoping it hits the range. So let's go back and see what the others are up to and see what other ghost stories captains told the others, and we'll figure it out from there.
All right. Thyxes will follow Rowan back to the group.
Okay. Thank you for the subscription. Too lazy to play myself. Hey. Too lazy to play myself has subscribed at tier 1. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you, lazy.
Murderbeard's so excited his beard's gone rogue.
It wasn't too lazy to sub.
Too lazy to play, but not too lazy for us to do it for them. We got you, buddy. Okay, so what's the plan? Thyxes and Rowan return to the group of you guys. You're in this empty plantation house. What are you doing?
Nymue, did the girl seem like she was never coming back, or that you could talk to her again?
Oh no, she said I can come back later if I want to. I don't know if she wants you guys to come back.
Yeah.
Because well, at least the two that were noisy, she was not a fan of. No offense, but I think she's coming back here quite often. There's like shells, like just little collections of things that I feel like she finds and then brings back here, probably every day.
I don't want you to ever come back here alone because you don't know anything about her, but
Sure.
I think talking to her again wouldn't hurt, and maybe convincing her that we're all not so loud and crazy, even though we totally are, would be smart. But let's not push our luck anymore today. I feel
like she needs to get. She's kind of like Kenna. You need to like get her to warm up to you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, a girl coming out of nowhere,
like she's like the hermit vibe.
Yeah, I don't want to upset her anymore, especially if maybe she needs our help. And then if we upset her, she won't take it. So
that's fair. I mean, she seems pretty capable of taking care of herself. She looks well cared for. Like, she had a nice dress on. It wasn't, like, ripped or anything. Someone's taking care of her. Oh, right! That's what it was. She said someone visited her sometimes. But I don't know who. She said that there was a lady that sometimes visits her and, like, hangs out and takes care of her sometimes.
Another ghost?
Maybe another ghost? Could be.
But she's living underneath the house, and this woman is coming to take care of her?
Whenever I asked too many, like, personal questions, she got more scared and, like, frightened. Maybe she's hiding from someone. She wouldn't tell me her name. But I'm used to that with people, so.
Since this place is, like, really kind of run down, are there any, like, plants that are, like, hanging in from, like, holes or, like, coming into, like, the walls?
Mm-hmm.
I'll go over to, like, if there's, like, a little cluster of, like, plants, and I just want to, like, maybe druid craft, like, one little bud so that a flower, like, will bloom earlier than some other ones, and just leave it there. I just want to see it. Maybe this girl will pick it and do something with it, or maybe she won't. I'm trying to just make it, like, nondescript, like, not in the middle of the house, like, putting it in with the rest. Why is he writing so much stuff? Because I did that.
I know. That's fine.
No.
It's really fine.
And the flower leads to a total party kill.
Okay. Straight per house.
Inflorious, demon god of flowers.
No. Escalated so quickly.
So,
Rowan backs up the house carefully and just says, "We've been kind of rude if this is her home," and calling out, not loudly, but like just so she can hear, "I'm sorry if we upset you. We're going now. This isn't proper. I'm sorry," and like backs out because she's having like bad flashbacks to like training school and like being taught up to be like nice, and she's just like, "Crap, I messed up," and backpedals out. Really.
Rowan.
Manners.
Rowan quickly retreats from the premises. The rest of you following out? Okay.
Thyxes would, but he'd also like start tapping on the walls as he is, just to see if there's like spaces behind. Like she was saying, like she got out somehow.
Yeah, make an investigation
never
check
said anything.
as you're leaving.
I am going to use my inspiration from chat.
Yeah, sure.
All right. That is a 19.
Okay. You knock, and you definitely get the sense that, like, in certain places there's like hollow spaces behind the walls in this structure, in this building.
Yeah. Yeah, figures. And I just walk out.
Okay. All right. So you guys are heading back towards the town proper now. Is that your next move here?
Yep.
Okay. Then as you guys make your walk back across the back down to the other side of the island, across the little bridge back into the town of Glasgow proper, I think that'll be a good place. We'll take our break here really quickly. Give everybody a chance to stretch their legs, refill their drinks and things, and give you guys a chance to check out our sponsors, Little Dragon Corp and Cardboard Castle. Exclamation point CGC and exclamation point Little Dragon in chat, which I'm sure are being done as I speak. I'll give you a link to both of the sites. You can check them out. Shop for all sorts of fun dice, tabletop gaming stuff of all sorts. And if you are in the market for anything that you might be able to find there, consider giving them your patronage, as they support us so that we can make fun content like this. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in like 5, maybe 10 minutes, and we will continue tonight's episode of Delve Requisite. Stick around. We will return shortly.
Okay.
Hey, welcome back. Happy Tuesday again. We return for the second half of our program, and I would like to inform all of our viewers who have stuck with us over the break. Thank you. I see we didn't lose anybody over the break, which is great. I would like to inform all of you. Yesterday was Rowan's birthday. The player of Rowan.
Happy birthday.
And
I hate you.
It is decidedly, pointedly, her day and her day alone.
Hell yeah.
No.
So, if any of you at home also had a birthday,
Rest of the show.
if any of you also had a birthday yesterday or today, well, also happy birthday to you. That would be rude.
Yes, happy birthday to them.
We like
please.
you too.
We love them too.
Thank you for watching.
Hate you guys.
Oh, chat.
Just got a nat
busted
20.
Nat 20 for Rowan.
Nat 20, birthday Nat 20.
Look at
Wait,
that.
since when is Jason the friggin' sugar daddy of promo points?
I imagine this man is currently at home wearing those round spectacles and a white t-shirt like points.
No, don't be out of points. Oh, I love you, Jason.
And he gave me nothing. All those times I had to res your ass in Overwatch. You get no heals for the rest of the time we play that game ever.
Listen,
Jason.
I still haven't forgiven him for the start of the match yesterday where their dudes were sitting in front of the spawn door. And we were like, oh cool, we'll just get 2 free kills real quick, and he managed to Maywall our entire team inside our spawn.
Yep.
Anyway, that's enough Overwatch talk. We're playing D&D right now. We return to our episode on the island of Glazow. The party has just returned to the town proper. Where do you guys want to be as we resume here? Where do you guys want to have headed back to after
Gold.
what?
On the way.
Rowan got 5 gold.
Oh, Rowan got 5 gold. Hey,
Gosh,
5 birthday
15
gold.
gold total.
15 gold.
Ooh, dang, nice.
God, what?
Somebody gave.
Yeah, 15
What?
gold.
15 gold.
Okay, stop. I love you. I'm getting stressed out. Stop.
But while you're giving out stuff,
No, you were mean to Thyxes. You don't get any. Oh God. Okay. Thank you. I love you. I'm freaking out. Okay, bye.
Alrighty. Where do you want to be when we return here? Where did you head after
the bar, right?
the bar? You're heading to Una's Tavern, the
Yeah,
Iron Pony.
did we post a thing being like
yeah.
interview on this day?
Yeah, presumably you have had a conversation with Una to then have her hey, spread the word around the population of the
Yeah, a lot of pirates don't read,
Of the
so it's a lot of word of mouth. Word of mouth.
Hieroglyphs.
as a word of mouth sort of thing. I'm not even on the remotely the right page of my notes here. Let's just quickly switch back to Glazow.
I just want to keep an eye. I'm just keeping an eye on Rowan and Thyxes, just in general, just vibe checking them every so often.
Before we go to interviews and all that fun, Rowan wants to stop by the tannery and the general store and get the same supplies she got to put Thyxes' book together.
Okay.
And make herself a little journal. She buys parchment and
Sure.
does the whole
Yeah.
quill and ink and
Cool. Easy enough. I'll calculate the conversion rate for your Ignean currency
thank you.
later, and I will give you the cost of that. I think I'm pretty sure before it basically came out to 1 of your Ignean gold pieces for all of this, but I'll double check. I'll let you know later. Okay. So you guys you're heading back to the Iron Pony. You head in. You see that Bashir is just sort of going about. You're kind of in between rushes here. The morning happy hour has ended. The lunch happy hour has not quite begun yet. So only the real dedicated drinkers are in the bar right now. Mostly it's empty, and you see Bashir is just sort of going, clearing tables, righting overturned stools and chairs, and wiping things down, putting things back into orderly condition. Una is behind the bar, polishing some glassware, and immediately kind of like catches your eyes as you guys walk in. And she says, "All right, we're wondering when you'd show up. Your what earth and pirate tryouts are today, aren't they? Huh?"
Yeah. Did you call him that?
She's, "No, we didn't call him that, Father."
Okay, good. It was a real concern for a moment.
Thyxes is hearing this about pirate tryouts. Who did you say was cleaning the tables?
Bashir is the name of
Bashir.
Una's like
Okay.
sole employee.
Okay. I will go to the table they're cleaning off, and I would like to take an empty glass bottle, and I just want to keep it near me at all times.
Okay, so you get a glass bottle.
Just in case. Just in case. Because I remember what happened last time we were here.
Okay. Like this, you have one empty glass bottle. So she says, "All right, well then, I suppose set up a table for yourselves in the corner or summit, and there'll be the various riffraff that this island has to offer coming along shortly to sign up to be part of your crew, I suppose." She says, "Have you drafted your charter yet? Your rules of order aboard your ship?"
Yes, Captain. Have you drafted our charter yet?
Yep.
As our captain, have you done that yet?
Una turns to you. She goes, "That's the tone of voice he uses when he's lying."
I know.
Oh, yeah?
That's the
Pulls a
tone of
whole
voice
bunch
he uses when he's lying and he's been caught at it.
Pulls a whole bunch of paperwork out of his beard. Oh, yeah?
She goes, you prove that that's not just a bunch of random papers that you had stuck in there. And
Don't you have something to clean?
and your whole round is on me."
How did those not fall out of there in that whole walk up there to the... My gosh.
Don't worry about it.
I've known him your whole life. I haven't figured it out yet.
It's an intricate system of mice. What? I didn't say anything.
This is the episode where we learn that Murderbeard has been a ratatouille this entire time. You know, I was curious as to why he was so very concerned about his hat this whole time, and now it all makes sense. He's been a ratatouille the whole time. Oh goodness. So Una says, "All right, Jesus, go take care of do that. Write down some bloody rules for your pirates. Gonna hire people without telling them what their share of any plunder is gonna be, and the like that. The quality of the sailor you're like to get." He says, "I'll stall anybody that comes in for the time being. Figure out your nonsense first. Go on."
I guess we go over to the table.
She like shoos you away. She's like, "Go, go, 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 go."
Okay, I mean, I do actually have most of this worked out. It's just we have to agree on it. I didn't want to just make up paperwork and have people agree to stuff that, So, yeah.
What rules do you suggest?
Well, I think, first off, we want to deal with dividing up the booty. And I don't mean just when Thyxes brings Rutabaga on board.
There's no dividing that, please.
Sorry, I distracted myself with a horrible mental image.
I think we all shared that horrible mental image. Thank you.
Well, might have been a mental image for some of us, but it's a reality for you, Thyxes.
Please, can we just focus on the... Thyxes is not splitting any rutabaga booty. Let's, let us just
Ooh,
focus
Thyxes,
on
you know
the
what that's
terms.
right? She just called out your manhood right there.
I don't mean like that. I mean that he has a sometimes good head on his shoulders and wouldn't dare.
So good.
Rowan's just sitting there rubbing her head like she has a migraine starting.
What is your plan for dividing
Okay.
the loot?
So I think it's only fair that we go by the standard rules that captain and more important officers get 2 shares and everyone else gets 1 share. That is, of course, not including, first and foremost, a portion of the booty has to be divided for repair and upkeep of the ship. Also has to be divided because we do owe money into the bank of the pirate island. But aside from that, 2 shares for essentially us and 1 share for the common crewman. Does that sound?
Gave you an inspiration for the head mouse in charge of you.
Theoretically, the mouse has the inspiration, not Murderbeard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's well, yeah. Technically,
Technically.
Does that sound agreeable?
That's that's fair. That's pretty
Aye.
fair.
Okay, rule number 2. I think this is a pretty smart one. Don't steal. Anybody who gets caught stealing will be punished, and the punishment will be decided on the severity of the thievery, because we don't want anybody stealing from anybody on board. Pirates are shifty. Agreeable?
Right. Agreed.
This is supposed to be a feedback session, and I'm getting a lot of feedback.
What sounds good?
Anybody that gets injured while working for the crew or as part of the ship should get fair compensation. I think that
Yes, that's a good
is
idea.
agreeable.
Mm-hmm.
should make sure that the lights are off past a certain time so that we don't alert any other ships or
That's pretty
disagreeable creatures to our presence.
Curfew.
And I
Yes.
think we make most decisions by majority vote. That seems fair. Other than that, everything is pretty standard. It's basically a
Don't
regular pirate
maroon.
contract that something like, an audience wouldn't want to hear about. So, any other questions before we move on?
Not pretty straightforward, Captain.
I do have a question, Captain, about that last rule that you just said about the majority rule.
Yes.
Like, what if the majority decide to rule you out as captain?
It's called a mutiny. That's a whole different.
Right.
different
I'm trying to. I understand. I'm trying to. I want to help you. I want to prevent that from happening for you, Captain. So how do we make that rule work? That
Basically, Thyxes, it's real simple. Okay?
okay?
As somebody who's been mutinied once before, I intend to make myself the scariest son of a bitch that any of these people have ever seen. And so help me God, if they even think about it, I will rain hellfire upon them.
And then I will eat them.
And that.
And I'll probably just watch because you probably don't need me.
I don't think
But
we need
that
to
makes it
get
more intimidating, because Nymue just makes hard eye contact the whole time.
And talk in their heads while they get eaten and lit
Oh,
on
that's a
fire.
really good idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I just wanted to make sure we had a plan.
I think we have a plan.
All right. Sounds good.
Generally, if we hire people who are agreeable with what we believe in, it's highly unlikely that they would mutiny unless we do something drastic to dishonor the contract.
Well, Captain said it himself. Pirates are shifty, so we want to make sure that
Pirates are
They're
shifty,
shifty,
but
but they're
they
usually
follow a
most agreeable to
code.
the rules.
Okay. So do they actually like sign this document that you have, Captain?
The ones that can write their names certainly do.
The other ones just do like a fingerprint or something?
Yeah, basically whatever they put on the paper, we go for it.
Okay. Sounds fair.
They just lick it.
Got any other clerical questions that are thrilling for everybody here, Thyxes?
You know, I'm just trying to cover all the bases, Captain. I don't want to see anything bad happen to you in the process. I'm just looking out for you. I got your back. You know, I think as a first mate, this is part of my responsibility.
You just make
good.
yourself first mate.
I second that.
I just kind of assumed it, Captain. I'm sorry.
No,
I
it's
don't
okay.
cite this.
That was what I was gonna suggest as well.
Don't give him such a hard time. He's trying.
Yeah, he's still learning. He's doing a good job.
And the things that would seem obvious to people who have been on a pirate ship for many years might not be obvious to folks who only came to them through slavery abolition. They won't know these things. Impatient.
Well, Thyxes, you're first mate now, so trial by fire, baby!
Now I've got this just in case, and I hold up the glass bottle.
You're learning. All right, bring him in!
So you guys set up at your kind of corner table here. Una has arrayed a singular rectangular table so that you guys can all sit in like a line on one side of it, as you bring in potential candidates for like officer positions on your ship and general like crew members that you're looking to hire. And you sit in a row in the back of this table. What's our order at the table here, just so I can paint a visual picture here.
Murderbeard's probably in the center.
Okay, so Murderbeard in the center.
I'll sit to Murderbeard's left.
Okay, Thyxes to the left.
Thyxes, you're supposed to be my right-hand man, but okay.
I'll sit on the right.
Go! Oh.
Nope, that was a test you
I didn't-
failed.
I didn't think that was like a literal thing. I thought that was just...
It's the
Same.
right of the people facing you, so it counts.
Stage right.
Stage right.
Stage right.
yes.
Oh, theater in the theater. Damn.
All right,
But
and
stage right to me would still be the opposite direction.
who's on? Who's next to Thyxes there?
I'm on Murderbeard's right.
Yes. So who's next to Thyxes?
I'll sit next to Thyxes.
Okay, so we got Rowan, and then Scylla would be
Can
on
I
the
like?
other side.
Can I stand behind Murderbeard
Sure.
so that I can get a view of everyone and look super intimidating and just have my arms crossed the whole time?
Yeah, okay.
We're getting a read on everyone.
Alrighty, so you guys array. Murderbeard sets himself up in the center of the table. You have your charter in front of you. Thyxes is to your left, Nymue to your right. Rowan is on the other side of Thyxes. Scylla looming ominously behind you, Murderbeard. Nymue, you look to your right, and Tea Kettle is sitting in a seat that she has pulled from somewhere. You didn't see her come in, but she has arrived and is at the table now.
Hell yeah, Tea Kettle, you get it.
Tea Kettle just sort of folds her hands very businessy in front of her at the table and puts on a very serious face.
Did she have like a little pad folio in the pen, like super
She
ready?
does. She puts down a Kengu-sized briefcase. She opens it up. It is filled with birdseed, except for a single legal pad that she takes out. Sets it up. You see, she writes the date and she writes pirate stuff and underlines it on the top. And she's ready to go. So as you guys prepare to begin seeing folks, over the next several hours, you have a stream of individuals come in. Most of them are just your sort of standard sailors. They don't have any exceptionally special skills besides the these specific ones of being able to operate a seafaring vessel. Some of them you perhaps reject for looking a little too shifty, perhaps for your liking. Some of them you get the vibe that maybe they're not good workers. Occasionally, Murderbeard, occasionally you can sort of like shoot a glance in Una's direction as she sort of stands behind the bar, very casually not paying attention to what's going on in your direction, like wiping down a glass. But as you sort of like shoot a glance over to her every now and again, while talking to a particular individual, she will sort of, she'll kind of like subtly either give you like a shake of the head or a nod, if she has specific opinions on any of these individuals, knowing them a little bit better than you. During the process of this, a familiar face does, a couple of familiar faces come up during the course of this. The first individual that you actually recognize is someone who was on the bar jack with you. The slightly older gnomish man that goes by the name of Vadric. Murderbeard, you, unlike the very first session we had, you got put to work on the deck, doing some like sail repair with like some bone needle. And Vadric had been with you during that process. He comes up and he kind of like sits down in the chair in front of you, and he says, "Well, I heard that you're in the market for a ship's doctor."
Aye, we are.
He says, "Well,
Do you have any experience?"
He says, some. He says, I can't say as I've ever been a doctor on a ship before. He says, but by trade, I've been an apothecary for most of my life. I have some medical training, though a lot of it is maybe less than formal. He said, I was raised in the Empire for a lot of my life, and they don't necessarily let my kind attend their formal universities. He says, but I know a fair bit, enough certainly to get by, to take care of most injuries that any of the sailors or the crew aboard your ship are like to encounter. I know enough of my medicine to stave off scurvy, other diseases that might plague the ship, and keep everybody fairly healthy. He says, I don't really have an interest in staying here, and at this point I don't have prospects anywhere else, so you seem like good folk from what I know of you, and might as well put my services to use with you, if you'll have me.
And how did you come to find yourself on the bar jack?
He says, well, I was... Like I said, I lived in the Empire for a lot of my life. I lived in a mostly gnomish settlement. My business was small, but profitable enough, though. He kind of looks around, gauging the group of you, and he doesn't get the sense that any of you are like natives to the Empire. He says, the government of the Ignean Empire are not favorable to my kind. Between taxes and crooked small lords, it can be hard for folks like me. I fell on hard times, and well, eventually they tacked enough taxes and fees and other trumped up things onto me to call me negligent in my dues and slap me in irons and send me to debtor's prison. He says, far as I know, through whatever means these nobles work in the Empire, somebody bought my debt, and I was to be transported out to somewhere in the Isles here to serve on the estate of some small noble out here. And it was during that caravan heading to the sea that the bandits that took myself and a couple of the others captured ended us up eventually on the barjack, and that's how we met. He sort of shrugs. He says, "My business is destroyed. I have no family back home where I came from, and I don't much have an interest in going to try and live back in the Empire."
Tell me something. Have you ever had to comfort a dying man while he screamed himself to death with shrapnel the size of a baby's arm sticking out of his chest?
It's a weird metaphor for the size of shrapnel, but he actually kind of grows somber for a minute, and he says, "I can't say it's to shrapnel, but..." And he looks you right in the eyes, Murderbeard, and he says, "Have you ever seen someone die of the amaranth fever?"
Aye.
He nods. He says, "I've seen my share of things. I'm not going to shy away from the type of life that you all intend to lead. I'm solid."
Sometimes how a man dies is just as important as he lives. I think he'll do fine.
He nods. He says,
One more question.
he looks up to Scylla.
I'm gonna lay out my herbalism kit
Mm-hmm.
on the table and like have all the bunches of like herbs and different things. And I'm going to ask him, tell me, these herbs and ingredients that I have collected here, what are they used for? Which for you, Matt, they are, I can make an antitoxin and a potion of healing.
Okay. He's pretty quickly, he sits there and he rattles off the like botanical names for a number of the things. He says he's like pointing to them. And he is able to tell you. He says, well, that right there will counteract most ingested poisons, if you have the right materials to brew it into the right salve or the right antidote. He says, were you a little more alchemy inclined? He says, I've heard tell that you can make a rather powerful healing potion out of those. And he points to like a couple of different combinations of what you have there, and he throws out some suggestions of like sort of unconventional ways in which they might be used for various medicinal purposes. He kind of points to some like willow bark that you have in there, and he says, it's a simple matter of chewing on that. It's got powerful anti-inflammatory properties. You can give it to somebody who's suffering from any number of things, arthritis or swollen joints or the like of that. Some of these have antiseptic qualities if you make the right salve out of them. He says, you've got quite a kit here.
I just like I'll like look at Murderbeard and just nod and then pack them up.
Okay, cool.
Anybody else have any further questions? No.
No questions, Captain.
What was your name again?
He says, my name's Vadrick.
All in favor of Master Vidrick, say aye.
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 And all opposed? Nobody. Cool. You're up.
Tea kettle.
Got the job, Master Vidrick.
Claps.
I
Excellent.
whisper over to Rowan. I'm really happy with that hire. That's a good one.
Also, for future reference, Tea Kettle, you also get a vote.
He scribbles his name onto the charter that you guys have laid out there, and makes his way off. A few other individuals come through. You accept or reject a few of them. Another familiar face comes by. Movor, the orc, strides up to the table. And he looks down, and he looks at your charter, and he looks it over. And he says,
Not sure what to say, but Thyxes ask Movor sail with you. Movor
Oh,
like
yeah,
this.
Movor. Yeah, man.
Well, I mean, I think we all like Movar.
You
Nobody has
need,
any good talk.
you need demonstration of Movor's skill.
Sure we do.
What are you good at,
Yeah,
Movar?
he
Show
says-
us.
Movor, yeah.
Ah.
Show us what you got.
and he just goes to like a nearby table, and one hand it just like flips it.
Oh, damn. Well, shit.
Well, I'm sold.
I like him.
Captain, I think we need someone like this on the vessel. I really do, Cap.
Yeah, okay, Mr. Movar, we'll, at a later date, we'll have Master Thyxes here explain, make sure you understand everything on the charter, and then you'll sign it.
He sort of like looks at the charter again. He says,
I go on ship with you. There fight and glory to be had.
Hell yeah!
Oh,
Uh,
plenty, Movor.
then paper not important.
and he sort of like gives you guys a nod of like, okay, and turns away. And he goes and he like sets the table that he flipped back into position, gives it a little pat, and then he moves on.
Wow.
That's what we call in the business an handshake agreement, Thyxes.
Oh, okay, yeah, that seems fair.
A goblin approaches the table. It is a female goblin. She looks to be a little bit older for a goblin. She's got this sort of braided sort of straw colored, almost straw textured hair that has been like tied back. She has these sort of like watery brown eyes. She's about 3.5 feet tall. She's a little bit shorter than Tea Kettle, but has kind of like a beefy build. And she kind of rolls up and she cranes her neck like above the table, and she says,
You're looking for cook.
Yeah. Gonna be real honest, didn't even know there was any goblins on Glasgow.
Just one.
Cool. What's your name?
Zexink.
Zexig.
Uh-huh.
What makes you think you're qualified to be a ship's cook, Zexig?
Know how to use a pot.
And?
And what? Put things in the pot, then you eat them. Cook.
Yes, I suppose that is the most very basic part of it. What's your specialty dish? Sing or whatever you said your name was.
How do you spell that? Yeah, how do you spell that?
Zexink.
Oh, I was close.
Me too.
Teixink.
Yes, specialty. Well, sometimes if you go out into the woods and you find a particularly good-looking log, you turn it over. There are these grubs. They're orange. Perfect.
They are actually quite delicious. They have a light, kind of like citrusy, meaty flavor.
See, she knows.
Very
Hey,
nutritious.
I'm gonna need you to not help the goblin right now.
I
I'm gonna need you to take it back a notch, Neela.
Captain, I have a question for her.
Go ahead. Ask
Zexig?
away.
Yeah.
Just a quick question. We have a friend who we originally thought for the place of cook, and I'm not saying we don't appreciate your skills. If you were to join us on the ship and we were to go get him, would you be willing to work with him, or are you very territorial in the kitchen?
Never had an assistant before.
Now you would be the assistant.
I don't understand.
We'll let them figure out assistant in head.
Okay,
Maybe they can
follow-up
become chefs.
question. Follow-up question, real quick. What is this? And he like picks up the salt shaker on the table. What is this? You tell me. Do you know what this is? Not a trick question.
Oh, Captain, she doesn't know what it
I
is.
thought it was a trick
Don't
question.
patronize her.
She like
Not a trick question.
grabs it, shakes a bunch of it into her hand, sniffs it, shakes a little more.
About to get lost in the sauce.
Unnecessary seasoning.
Okay, I think we've seen enough. Thank you for applying. We'll get back to you. Don't call us. We'll call you.
Do you use any seasoning at all?
Not if you cook it right. The seasoning builds up in the pot over time, you see.
How long?
You just add more stuff to the pot every day. And the stuff that cooks in there from the day before seasons into the stew.
Captain, I think I'm going to be sick.
Well, for the intestinal health of my
Getting
crew,
sick is only weakness leaving the body.
It is a very confined space on the ship. For the sake of all the pants, all of our pants, I think we're gonna have to pass.
She says,
Your loss. I hear they're hiring here at the
Iron Pony, and there's like a crash from behind the bar. you see Uno like disappear into a back room.
Yeah, they definitely are. I think you should go tell the barkeep everything you possibly know about cooking right now.
Great idea.
She runs off.
Well,
I
that
tried
was one
to
of the
be nice
worst
to
experiences
her.
of my life.
I tried to be nice to her, and being nice almost backfired. I'm sorry. I'll shut up now.
No, you really had a point. When you build up enough of these different
See,
organisms in your body, it can actually help you build immunity.
It does make me a
Her
little
logic was not wrong.
It wasn't wrong, but at the same time, I was getting a
It
vibe.
certainly wasn't right.
It's
Yeah.
not wrong. It's just not good for some of us.
It's not good for a ship. She'd be
I don't
good
know
at
if you've ever
how.
been out to sea with explosive diarrhea, but it's not fun.
Wow.
I tell you, once when I was a younger lad, we didn't need any cannons.
Jesus.
Next time we find those grubs, though, we'll make you taste them.
Point of order. If I don't want to ever be the woman in a kitchen, but if we're all gonna go get Grohl before we go running around anywhere else, I can cover in the interim until we get him on the ship.
Do you know what salt is?
Of course I know what salt is!
Well, you're already doing way better than that goblin.
You're hired.
Being patronizing.
Oh my gosh. I will be the cook until we get Grohl. If we all agree, we're gonna go get him.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. We can go look for him. And if we can't find him, then we will
We'll
find
hire
him.
somebody in another port.
Okay.
Yep, hopefully he's not totally dead, because we did leave him on an island.
I know. I hope not to, but
He's
that's what his job was, and he didn't poison us on the bar
He's
jack.
probably fine. He's probably
And
fine.
Rowan, in the interim, until we get Grohl, I mean, I can, if it's not too much on responsibilities on myself, I can help out too.
I'll take any
And
help
yes,
I can
Captain,
get.
I do know what salt is.
Okay.
As you guys like wrap up this conversation about salt, you sort of like turn your attention back to the front, and you notice that there is an individual standing there who has been quietly waiting during this time. They are a rather tall, standing at over 6 feet, reptilian-looking individual with an elongated snout and glinting metallic bronze scales, brass-colored scales. They have these like piercing orange eyes, and a very sort of like pronounced sweeping brow ridge that sweeps up to the back of their head. Any of you who have seen an individual of this race before would recognize a dragonborn. They have a very sort of like lean, sinewy build, and they're wearing very simple, sort of nondescript linen shirt and trousers. And as you guys like settle your goblin argument, you turn to look, and they sort of dip their head down quietly and say to you, "I take it that this is the officership of the Grimm's Folly that are seeking capable individuals."
It is.
My name is Apura Dozan. I am a experienced sailor, and I'm a responsible, intelligent individual. If you have need of someone to serve as a leader of any sort among your crew, I would submit myself as a candidate. Otherwise, I am more than capable of fulfilling the role of a simple deckhand, if that is all you have available.
What do you think your assets are? What do you think you bring to the table?
As I said, I am competent in sailing. I am, as are all of my kind, not easily stirred to great emotion or bouts of frivolity. If you need someone in a position of authority to maintain some semblance of order among your men and women, I would be more than adequate for this job.
Looking at this person, like the state of like their clothing, their body language, do the things that I can observe from them reflect what they claim, like the skills they claim to have?
They seem very, so they are very like, there's no like fidgeting, they're not shifting from foot to foot. They're standing very still, very serene, very stern. Their hands are just kind of at their side. The sort of like sinewy, corded nature of their muscles, they are Dragonborn that you may have encountered before, those of you who have seen them, tend to be a little more on like the sort of the broad, like kind of beefier side. This individual is much more like sinewy, but you can tell that they do appear to be extremely like, they are probably quite strong, because like from what you see is like hard, like ropey, corded muscle that does look like a body built from like a long time at like the type of physical manual labor you would expect of like shipboard life, a lot of like pulling ropes and things like that.
How do you spell that?
What's up?
How do you spell his name?
Their name is Apora, Apora, Dozan, Dozan.
Gozen. Thank you.
Is Una back from avoiding the goblin to give us a head nod or not yet, or is she not?
She
there?
does not appear to be. She's hiding. She's hiding from Zexik still.
Can I insight check him to see if he just seems shifty?
Sure.
Or
Kind of. That's also kind of what I was.
Yeah,
trying
absolutely. You guys
to
can.
do
You guys
with
can
them,
roll
like,
insight checks.
Looking at
Yeah,
them.
can I get a moment?
everyone's just
And-
insight checks.
While they're doing that, and what is it that what led to your I guess either termination or departure from your previous ship and crew?
I am not a person who makes a habit of stagnating in one place for too long. The captain and crew of my previous vessel had taken to sailing the same route to and from a particular port that they favored in honor, and I seek different locales, new experiences. It is what drove me to leave my home and my brood in the first place, and it is what continues to drive me. I sense, just by looking at you, that travel aboard your ship will be nothing if not interesting and unique.
About a 19.
You don't get any sense of like deception or shiftiness from them, like they're trying to hide anything. They seem extremely straightforward. You get a very just sort of no nonsense kind of sense from this person.
Thank you. Can you just give us a moment?
Of course.
To discuss amongst ourselves.
And they politely step away.
Okay. So, they definitely seem like a competent individual, but it also seems like they might murder us in our sleep. Thoughts?
I think perhaps having somebody aboard the ship in an officer position to hold things down while we're away, whose personality is drastically different from your own, will perhaps be refreshing and useful to the crew. And Scylla smiles for like one of the few times that you've ever seen her smile. She's just...
It's not a bad idea.
I lean over to Thyxes and I'm like, that one also might slit my throat in my sleep.
Only if I get hungry.
I'm not going to disagree with you, Cap.
I don't taste very good.
So you're thinking second mate, or?
I think they are very even-keeled and perhaps slow to excite, which, if we are not on the ship, could be a useful personality to lead.
Yeah, they're very disciplined.
We can always keep an eye on them for a little while, and
Okay, you can come back now.
They step back over.
I have one more question for you. Do you find it easy to take orders, or are you generally more of the rebellious type?
I am not a prideful individual. I understand and respect the chain of command.
And they like hold up a clawed finger, and they say,
within the reasonable boundary of orders being issued that are reflective of the interests and safety of the crew, my sense of honor will not allow me to follow an order that I believe is made intentionally in bad faith or to the detriment of those who I will be sailing with.
I could get behind that.
Well, I think unless one of my crew disagrees, I think we would like to offer you an officer's position, granted it be on a 2-month trial basis. If at the end of the 2 months we are pleased with your service, we will officially make you a full-fledged officer. Does that sound agreeable?
they smile, and it is reserved but genuine. You can see like the sort of like the row of sharpened teeth in their reptilian mouth, and they say,
That sounds just fine. I greatly look forward to sailing with you all.
Very well. Rest of the crew in agreement?
Aye.
Right. Sign the charter.
Wait, did Tea Kettle say I?
Yeah, Tea Kettle said I in Murderbeard's
Okay.
voice. Tea Kettle went, I! And they sign, they scrawl in a tight, neat handwriting, Apura Dazan.
Well, I think this is going well.
Russell, out of character for my reference, by officer, do you mean second mate or bosun?
That's.
They
I
do
guess
not
us to
specifically
decide. Why
have
make it
like
vague?
shipwright experience.
Okay.
This is the second mate one, because second mate's the one who will be in charge when we go to fuck around. Oops, I said the bad word. Sorry.
It's okay. It's 9:49. The kids have gone to bed. Okay. So as Murderbeard says, I think this is going well. Apura Dazan turns and like walks to leave the establishment after signing the contract, revealing standing in their shadow, making, as discussed, hard eye contact with Thyxes. What's up, big boy?
Oh God.
I heard you're looking for sailors.
I think we're gonna let Master Thyxes handle this one.
Here's my resume. Smacks a leg on the table.
Rutabaga, how did you hear about this?
Oh, I hear all sorts of things. You know how these sailors like to talk. A lot of sailors that come to Rutabaga seem just to want to talk. I don't know why.
Rowan,
Yes, like
No, it's all you, Thyxes.
do you have any questions?
Rutabaga, what skills do you have that would come into use on a ship? For ship work, not for helping others on the ship specifically, but helping the ship run.
Well, you see, I don't know if you saw before. But I have extremely powerful legs. I don't know how.
Is some of the hair green?
I don't. don't worry about that. I'm getting an ointment for that. It's just the last couple of ointments that they gave me, they said wasn't strong enough, but they're pretty sure that the next one's gonna work just fine. And she like.
Is she playing footsie with Thyxes under the table?
She is, but you're not sure how because one of her legs is up on the table and she's ostensibly standing on the other one.
Captain, that's not you, is it?
That what's not me.
What's touching my leg right now?
Thyxes, I swear on the grave of everyone I've ever loved, I'm not touching you right now.
Okay, we need to wrap this up.
I put a hand on.
We've got to.
Thyxes'
I think we're just getting started, Thyxes.
Yeah.
I put a hand
Nymue,
on-
Nymue, do you have any questions?
No, not at all. Strong legs are always good.
Ship work, Nymue, ship work.
I mean, she must be good at lifting, right?
She goes.
Lift up your leg.
Oh, wait a minute. Are you guys are planning to sail away from here, away from this island?
Yes, we're
ma'am.
leaving.
It is,
For a long
it is
time.
generally what a ship does.
She says, I see. Well, in that case, I am afraid that I just don't think this is a good fit. I hate to disappoint you. I am sorry.
Oh,
but
no.
I think
Disappointed. We are all.
I think it's just not the right time.
Rutabaga.
You live your best life.
She says.
You don't need
she
it.
says, "Oh, you know it, honey."
And then she tries to wink, but she just is like,
All right. Okay. But that's enough.
And she goes, "I should get back to well, you know."
and she leans in Thyxes, like right next to your like your ear, basically.
I'm here by Murderbeard. I want to know which year she's leaving.
By Rowan. So she's
crap.
between Rowan and Thyxes. So Rowan. So as Rutabaga leans in, she like puts her right up next to you, and like you feel like the footsie again, and she just goes, "I was born with a tail," and then she just leans away and goes, and then walks out of the bar.
This is the second interview where I think I threw up in my mouth a little bit.
I pass him my water that I've been drinking.
Just weakness leaving the body!
I literally, like, was gonna say I cast Shape Water and I use it to, like, swirl on his face to clean him up.
Thank you. I almost cast a spell.
I have a spell that can detect disease. I don't have it ready, but I can use it on you tomorrow.
Please do.
Hold on.
I lean forward and look at Murderbeard and say, "Are you trying to get him killed?"
Hold on. Did we just get rejected by Rutabaga?
I think so.
I'm okay with that right now.
I'm fine with it, Captain. I'm really fine with it.
I'm
You saw
honestly very offended.
You brought it up. Her legs were green.
I think you brought it up, Thyxes.
Don't-
What's wrong with
Well,
having green legs?
With the
Not what I was
ointment
talking
stuff.
about.
I mean, we don't need to bring anything on the ship that requires ointment right now. That's
You got
doesn't
those
seem like a good idea.
pants!
That's not ointment. That's lubrication. It's different, Captain.
Worse. You see, it's worse, right? You see how that was a worse choice of words, Thyxes, right? You do see that, right? I need you to tell me that you see
more
that.
people. This is a lot, even for me.
Well, Rutabaga gone. That's a good thing. Who's next? Do we have anybody else?
There is a human female standing slightly off to, like slightly away. But as Thyxes is like, who's next? She steps up. And she's just like kind of looking. She says, you didn't hire her, right?
Nope.
Okay. I was
She rejected
well I heard she's got a green fungus on her leg, so
No, that is
Rejected
probably the
Murderbeard.
first time she's ever rejected anybody who's offering her money in her life.
It's character growth.
Cool.
she's
Now
like-
my feelings are hurt as well.
She so she says, if it's all the same, are you still in need of a bosun aboard your vessel?
Yes, I believe we are.
So you look at her, she's actually appears to be fairly young. Murderbeard, you would gauge she might actually be younger than like Una, who's in like her 20s ish. She has very like cut very short, like golden blonde hair, and brown eyes. She has kind of like tanned, like weather freckled skin. You can tell she spent a lot of time like in the sun in her life. She's not particularly tall. She's like just a little bit over 5 foot, maybe 5'4" ish. But is definitely, you can see like beneath the tunic she wears, you can see like the cut of like a pair of well toned arms. Like she is clearly no stranger to physical manual work. She has sort of a kind of a heart shaped, almost like impish face, and she has you can see like quite calloused hands, and she says, well, if you're still in need, I'd like to put my name in the ring for the position. Anna Cromwell by name. She says, I'm from Mythland originally. Worked in the shipyards there growing up. Apprenticed under one of the shipwrights, but left for
Fair climbs. A few years back, I've been working here under the shipwright for the past few years, but I like to put my skills to better use aboard a vessel, take on some responsibility.
What city in Mythlanday are you from?
She's Austin Vale originally.
Rowan just nods and stays completely quiet.
Okay.
You said she was human?
She is human. She kind of looks at you as you guys are sort of like evaluating her. She says, I know I'm young, she says, but I promise you'll not find a more capable woodworker, a craftsman than I. She says, actually, as it were, I've been working on your figurehead for your vessel.
Oh.
Well, that's you?
She nods. She says, it is.
Oh, that's really
And how's it coming? Is it coming along
So
well?
it'll be done by the time the vessel's ready to set sail. Because if I do say so myself, it'll be... She says, she kind of like considers, she says... The first time you sail out of a dense fog up on a target, well, you'll make an impression. I promise that.
See, that's exactly what we were going for. Right there.
She kind of like...
Matt, does she look familiar to Rowan at all?
Not particularly.
Okay.
Would you kindly give us a moment to discuss amongst ourselves?
She says, sure? And she backs off a little bit.
Lady Rowan. Any, concerns?
She says she's from my city, and I don't recognize her. And that doesn't mean anything completely because I wasn't necessarily down at the shipyards a lot.
It's a pretty big city, too.
Yeah, it's just having someone from home can either be very good or very bad. And for all I know, it doesn't matter at all, and she'll never figure out that that's where I'm from.
Do you
But-
think that she recognizes you?
That was a pretty
don't-
big fly just there, so...
Yeah, I
We'll see.
don't know how she would. I look very different from the last time I would have been home.
Okay.
And I mean, if she had seen me back then, I was not like this. So
What did you look like instead?
think
Too much?
think frilly dresses. Same angry face, but frilly dresses.
Oh.
And so I don't know if she would recognize me in the middle of Pirate Island hiring a crew. And I don't think my family was ever really down at the shipyards enough to be seen by someone working on the docks.
Well, we just...
If we can get somebody to vouch for her. I mean, if she's doing our figurehead and they trust her here, maybe she'll just be somebody else I keep an eye on along with Apora.
Yeah, and
Maybe I
we
can
just
watch them
don't
both.
mention that you are also from there, if that's a big concern. We just won't mention anything
I
at
don't
all.
even know if it's a concern so much as I don't know how I feel about it.
That's
it's
okay,
not-
you can take your time.
Perhaps
not-
you should meditate on it.
Oh, I plan to, but I also still need to recover from yesterday as well. It's only been not 24 hours yet.
Rowan,
Scylla, how do you feel about this person? I mean, they did say they were young.
I don't particularly care either way if she can take care of herself and do the job that she is hired for. She seems confident. There were calluses on her hands. Clearly someone who works.
Rowan.
I'm sorry, Kristy, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're
Sorry.
good. It's fine. If we hire her, will you be uncomfortable?
No, I think
Are you sure? You're allowed to say no. You have a vote.
at the end of the day, regardless of what home could mean for both of us,
Mm-hmm.
we both left for a reason, and if she's building the figurehead and can handle the ship, I mean, we need somebody that can do that. And if I don't like her, I'll just stab her and throw her overboard.
Oh, Rowan, I stand up and I go give her a hug because that's such a mood.
I don't have any other answer than that right now. We're in the middle of Pirate Island, and that seems to be...
Okay, but at any point you feel like you're uncomfortable, we will back you up, okay?
I know.
All right.
I mean, maybe we don't have to stab her to death, but we can,
We might have
Fire
to.
her.
yeah, kindly let her go. But
Severance package.
push comes to shove, I will stab anybody at any time. So
This is the ship she's joining.
Okay. So you
Alright.
guys like summoning her back over?
Yeah.
She steps up, just looks at you.
well, I think we're all in agreement, and I think we can offer you a spot on our crew.
She says, "Oh, peachy." She says, "Is there?" She sort of looks. She says, "I suppose sign that now."
Yep.
She
Yep.
scribbles a little signature, gives us, puts like a heart, and she says, "Right, well, I've got to get our vessel seaworthy, so I will leave you to the rest of the hiring, and I will get back to my post."
We're excited to see it.
She gives you like a grin, and a wink. She says, "I think you'll like it," and she
Ooh.
As soon as she's out of earshot, we're gonna be like, I think we're all in agreement that if it ends up looking like shit, she's fired immediately, right?
Immediately.
Yeah,
Immediately.
probably. That's fair.
She mounted the skull wrong, she's out.
she she doesn't quite skip, but she like runs out, and she definitely has sort of like a floaty, sort of
Kind of.
playful bounce to her step, and she boop 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 just leaves.
Pretty cute.
So for the sake of time, as you guys have pretty much covered your officer slots, couple of other like particular standout individuals, a tabaxi by the name of Melted Snow, just standard crewman, comes by, a sort of like middle-aged female human with a gray mohawk, comes and signs up by the name of Thea Trugust. A youngish man, Roger Keenseeker, comes and applies. And you fill out your roster with about 30 other sailors in addition to the individuals that you guys have seen and spoken to.
Sorry, what was the last name that you said?
Roger or something.
Roger Keenseeker, I believe. I just closed the document.
Sorry.
Roger Keenseeker is his name.
Okay.
Hampton.
What's that?
Hampton.
No, Hampton. Look, Hampton has been written down.
Oh,
Hampton will arrive at some point.
Hamptons are a bit bad.
The sort of last thing, once you've like filled out your crew and you're pretty much ready to go, Ogatumbe, leading Kivo and Kenna, approaches you guys, and he sort of like prods them a little bit, but when they don't seem like forthcoming with wanting to like talk to the group of you, firing squad style, as you're behind this like interview desk, he sort of smiles and he gives a pat and he says, "It is all right." He says, "I have discussed with the children,
I do not know your feelings about having ones as young as they travel aboard your vessel with the perilous activities you no doubt plan to get up to. But they have taken to their training sessions with Miss Nymue, and they are, he sort of looks at them, still in disagreement about what they should ultimately do about their journey forward. But for the time being, they have agreed that if it is acceptable to you, until such a time that they can come to a conclusion for themselves, they would travel with you. He says,
I mind link with Murderbeard, and I'm like, please, 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 please.
He says, I can be of as much assistance as possible. He says, I am not as young as I once was, but I am still fit and healthy. I can pull my weight aboard the ship. He says, a pair of them are happy to help out in the kitchens, or however else they may be of use. They wish not to be a burden.
I think that sounds agreeable.
Of course. We still have lots of training to do. It makes sense.
And help in the kitchen would be a bit of a stopgap until we pick up our official cook.
And I think we can put you down as under bunk number 7, which is right next to Lady Nimue's personal quarters. So
he says, thank you. I appreciate that you are... kind of considers his words. He says, you have hearts that are true, which is perhaps an uncommon trait among those of this profession. You have not let the world harden you as much as many others. And he kind of guides the two of them off with promises that they'll collect the few belongings that they have and transition to moving aboard the Grimm's Folly. And with the finality of those two, you have filled out your crew. The Grimm's Folly is fully crewed, and once she is seaworthy, you will be ready to leave port and sail out wherever wherever the wind may take you. And since it is 10 minutes after 10, I think that is a good place to call it quits for tonight. Since we will be in a good position to perhaps maybe do a little bit more of Island if there's anything anybody has felt that they have not gotten to do at this point.
Girl.
What was that?
Ghost Girl.
There is Ghost Girl. And probably sooner than you know it, the crew of the Grimm's Folly will be underway off to their next adventure. So before we sign off for the night, I want to thank everybody who was in chat with us. This is I think the most people and the most different people being active in chat that I have that I think I've seen in the 2 years that we've been streaming. So that's makes me feel very, very happy that we had some people having fun with us tonight. We appreciate everybody who is here. We super appreciate the bits and the subscription and the points that were given. So thank you for hanging out with us.
But not Jason.
Except for Jason. We will be back next week on Tuesday at 7 with the flip side of our campaign, the Fool's Errant, the OG Delve Requisite party. And then the week after that, back again with Pirates. We rotate every week. But be sure to check in on all sorts of other days of the week, because we have a ton of other programming that we're doing that you can check out. If you have not done so, please follow, subscribe here on Twitch to catch all of our streams. You can join our Discord to get updates
when streams go live, automatically updated there. You can look for us on YouTube. You can look for us on social media, Proficiency Bonus, wherever you might want to hunt us down and give us a like, a follow, a share, or whatever. And if you enjoy our show, I encourage you to tell somebody about it. Tell a friend. More than anything else, word of mouth is how streams like ours and streamers like us grow our viewership and bring more people in to help us just to make more and better, cooler stuff. So thank you for sticking with us. Thank you to our sponsors, Little Dragon Corp and Cardboard Castle, for their support. Please feel free to check them out before you call it quits for the night. And I will leave you with this. As established, when you are trying to set up your position of authority among your newly minted pirate ship, there are 4 things you need to know. 1. Be scary. 2. Eat dissenters. 3. Hard eye contact. And 4. Don't forget to add your proficiency bonus. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next time. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.